But first, the GOP's Great Reset. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, weeks ago, the angle warned Pelosi and company that impeachment would only help Trump, but they listened to the crazies instead. Now, the second impeachment fiasco was a total disaster for the Democrats. Trump was acquitted, exactly 0 minds were changed, and nothing was accomplished, except Donald Trump emerged stronger and the Congress weaker. Now, a recent poll conducted by the liberal-leaning website Vox made 2 important findings. One, that 69% of Republican voters are less likely to back a candidate who voted to convict Trump. And number 2, 70% of likely GOP voters say they want to see Trump run again in 2024. Now, the Democrats are going to have to try to govern at this point, right? With impeachment behind them, which they've proven themselves to be supremely bad at doing. Now, after all, if they could govern, Americans wouldn't be fleeing places like New York and California. The Democrats have relied on both Trump's presence and virus panic as shields to cover their ongoing destruction to our economy, our borders, and our foreign policy. But after only 1 month in office, can you believe it's only been a month? The veil or face mask is off, and more Americans are seeing exactly who the Democrats are and what they intend to do to America. Now, this development presents a clear opening for the GOP. 10 years after the Tea Party movement reared up against the Democrats and the old GOP establishment, a populist America First movement is now the undeniable core of the Republican Party. So no matter how often Jeff Flake or the sleazy Lincoln Project grifters appear on MSNBC, we ain't never going back to the Bush-Cheney style of republicanism. No more support for open borders, no more blank checks for endless wars, no more putting China and multinational corporations first. Never again. That version of the GOP is finished. With much of the old establishment on the sidelines, though, the GOP is free now to represent its voters. That's a new concept. That means aggressively advancing a pro-growth, anti-lockdown agenda that puts American families first. Now, what's the most important issue right now that will help our country and grow our movement? We've talked about this, I think, all of us together for what now, 10 months? Opening schools. The Democrats' stance on reopening schools is anti-science, and it's just plain evil at this point. It once and for all proves that liberals don't give a rip about children who don't have the opportunity to attend private academies. No, they don't. And if you ever doubted that Democrats are just puppets of the teachers' unions, well, you didn't trust this show. You should have. But now, you know the ugly truth.
My team will work to see that a majority of our schools can be open by the end of my first 100 days. That's right.
His goal that he set is to have the majority of schools, so more than 50%, open by day 100 of his presidency, teaching at least 1 day a week.
I think that the schools really do need more resources, and that's the reason why the National Relief Act that we're talking about getting passed, we need that.
Well, that's a complete and utter joke. Even Jake Tapper, who has essentially canonized Anthony Fauci, he choked up a tad the moment he realized that schools weren't opening anytime soon.
I feel a little dispirited after this conversation because I had high hopes that schools would be able to resume in-person learning because so many scientists and health officials, including you and Dr. Fauci and others, had been talking about the science supports opening the schools. It sounds to me like you're asking for 100% mask compliance and a number of measures that we're never going to be able to achieve. And that makes me feel like, boy, I don't know if the schools are ever going to open.
Duh. Of course they're not. They're not going to have to go back to school, in-person learning, unless the teachers are forced to do so. Now, they could buy every teacher a full spacesuit and vaccinate them and install hundreds of billions of dollars of new HVAC systems in schools. And Fauci and Biden would just move on to squawking about another virus mutation's coming. Do you really think that the GOP is going to lose ground to a party that wants to keep kids stuck at home forever? Come on, man. States like Michigan, Illinois, New York, and Connecticut tolerate the bleed of businesses from their already high-tax, pro-shutdown states. And who in his or her right mind would condone today's COVID deaths blame-shifting performance from Andrew Cuomo?
Is there anything that you personally apologize for in this whole process?
Apologize? Look, I have said repeatedly, we made a mistake in creating the void. When we didn't provide information, it allowed press, people, cynics, politicians to fill the void.
Give that man another Emmy. For years, Republicans have treated California as if it's a lost cause. New York, pretty much the same. But look at what's happening now. You gotta give credit, by the way, to the Californians who are finally waking up to gruesome Newsom. The effort to recall one of the nation's worst governors has gotten the requisite 1.5 million signatures. I think this was the first show to really discuss the fact that it could very likely happen. Although, by the way, I bet the Democrat Party will object to those certifications. Now, meanwhile, our policies, the America First policies, they continue to work for the average American. Red states like Florida, Texas, South Dakota, and Tennessee, they're thriving. They nixed the lockdown mentality and understood from the beginning that the cure could not be worse than the disease. Now, it was last May, if you could believe it or not, when the Angle pleaded with the Democrat governors to wake up. It's becoming more obvious by the day that these power-hungry governors and radical mayors are endangering their states' futures and will eventually see their states left behind. This has been the pattern of blue state governors and radical mayors during COVID-19. They simply don't trust their own citizens, and at times, they seem to relish punishing them. But they wouldn't listen, and they're not going to listen. Because at some point along the way, this whole effort stopped becoming about controlling the virus and started becoming about controlling the people. Our choices, our travel, our education, our churches, our free speech. Anyone who questioned the vaunted medical establishment was branded as anti-science, a heretic, and also called dangerous. When the history of this pandemic is finally written, many of the heroes and geniuses of today will be seen as villains or incompetents, like the Democrat and Republican politicians who saw Trump as a bigger threat than the CCP. And eventually, conservative leaders like Ron DeSantis, Kristi Noem, Greg Abbott, and of course, Donald Trump, will be seen as visionaries for doing everything in their power to not only keep Americans safe from a virus, but most importantly, keep them free. After a few more years of lockdowns and racial grievance, government controls, and dying state economies, the America First message will increasingly resonate with women, young Americans, new Americans, Latino Americans, and yes, African Americans. And when that happens, we're going to be unstoppable. And that's the angle.